this journey, what has been the most significant change for you, or thing that you've noticed in yourself?
Number one is the energy, right? Now, when you start getting into the exercise routine, you expend a lot of energy, and you typically end up very tired the next day after a hard workout. But after a while, your body kind of adjusts to that. And roughly, I think it was 6 months after continuously doing this, I could, have a really good workout the day prior. And then the next day, I still have a good energy level. Or, for example, on a rest day, if I'm not exercising, for a particular day because I'm letting my body recover, the next day I have a lot of energy. It's not a problem getting through the workday without being sleepy. I feel like my mind is sharper. I can stay focused better. My blood pressure being at a normal level now, it's easier to get to sleep at night. It used to be that I would wear earplugs and I could hear my heart beating, because my blood pressure was elevated. Now I don't hear that, so I know that's been a significant difference. People typically like to look at weight as the big thing that they're trying to reduce, right? For me, that wasn't the key focus. It was more of, blood pressure, cholesterol, the things that are going to cause problems later. That's right. And the weight loss was more of just a convenient side effect of everything else that I was doing. But that, looking at pictures of prior and now, there's been a bit of a difference there too. Yeah.
And a lot of times you can see it in somebody's face. There's just a different glow to them where, like you said, it's not necessarily the scale numbers, but just their overall health and well-being. There's just a different look. Too. So how did you do then on your goal, on your review then with Corey afterwards, after the 10K? Did you?
It was great. I mean, I did a 10K. I wasn't able to do a race because during the time of year they didn't have any 10K races. People don't like to run in the summer, for example. Right. But it kind of set me up for doing those things later. And he was satisfied with the results. But at the time, I was able to run the distance, but I wasn't able to get the measurable output that I wanted from the whole experience, which was, what are my blood levels? What is my cholesterol? An actual measurable metric for health improvement, and I was still kind of waiting for that to come through because my yearly health checkup wasn't for another, I think I had to do like another 6 months or something before I could get to that point. Right. So that's why I never really brought it up until I think it was like last week, because I actually got my results back and they were pretty good.
Yeah, let's do a recap of those. So you mentioned the blood pressure is down, cholesterol is down. What are some other things that are key indicators there?
Yeah, so my blood pressure is probably the most significant, going down from an average of around, mid to high 140. Now, when I measured at home, right, go to the doctor, it's about 119 to 120, low 120s. So that's a significant improvement because that's a direct contributor to, heart disease. My cholesterol has come down quite a bit. There's a lot of different numbers. Let's see. Yeah, I think my triglycerides came down almost 200 points, which is significant. My family in general, we all typically run pretty high with triglycerides, unfortunately. So a little bit of dietary change came along with it. The other thing too is I find it less appealing to drink alcohol or anything like that's gonna hurt me the next day, like a big meal, for example. Right. Because I know that if I do that, if I am like not feeling well because I ate really bad the prior day or I had a big lunch, then I'm not going to run well. It's going to be miserable. So the exercising has actually also changed my diet because now I'm eating to make running a little bit easier and it'll make it, not as miserable. So it has impacted my diet. My weight has come down from, it would range between 230 to 235. Now I'm running about 210 to 212. That's fantastic. So the weight's come down quite a bit too. The biggest impact, of course, is the cholesterol. As I said before, I was on path to basically be put on cholesterol medication when I hit 40, which is kind of a, for me, that's a hard thing to accept.
Yeah.
So when I went to the doctor and reviewed the results, she had said that at this point, I am not on that path anymore. If I was at 40 last year, they would have definitely prescribed the medication. I had one doctor actually prescribe it. I took it, I think, for 2 weeks, and it didn't really agree with me. I had some side effects, and I stopped. I decided I was going to handle it on my own. That was just prior to taking up running and talking to Corey, and that's when it kind of clicked that I need to, do this on my own.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to take that medication, and I won't, if I stay on this path, I won't have to when I'm 40. So now I'm at a normal level, which is a pretty big deal, considering heart disease does run in my family on both of my grandfather's sides. So that is something I have to watch out for. So, I mean, as far as the measurable effects, it's pretty significant.
That's awesome. What advice would you have for somebody who's maybe watching this and has been thinking, I got to do something, or they've gone to the doctor and heard that they're on that path as well, or they've been prescribed medication and they don't want to take it, but not quite sure how to make the change? What would you say is that baby step towards making a lasting change?
The first thing is finding the motivation, right? That's always the hard part. There's going to be days where we don't want to do something. And the way I do it is I do it one step at a time. I say, I'm just going to get my running shorts on, get my shoes on, and I'll decide if I want to, that's a given. I have to do that,
Yeah.
And I'll stretch out a bit. Okay. Now, do I feel like running? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't want to do this, and then I'll say, okay, well, I'm just going to go for a walk. I'll walk to the running start point. I'll stretch out a bit, and then by the time I get there, I'm like, well, I'm already here. So I'll do a little bit and see how it goes. And then once you get warmed up, you realize it's not so bad. The second thing is a lot of people say, well, I don't have time for that, and it's, the thing is what we do with our time is always kind of a sensitive topic. We don't think we have time for things, but maybe we spend a little bit too much time watching Netflix or watching
Right.
TV. I've given up a significant amount of time watching TV to go out and run. There's a lot of shows I'm really far behind on, but that's just something I accept as, a trade-off. I used to play a lot more video games. I don't really get to do that as much anymore. It takes up 40 minutes of my day. So whatever I do with that 40 minutes, I have to spend outside, But the way I see it is that's going to be time that hopefully I won't be spending in a hospital when I'm older. So yeah. It's worth it. Yeah. And that's the other thing is it is worth it. It's worth the time.
Yeah. And it's also creating something for your family that they can see that you're committed to this, and it starts them on that journey earlier in life. And so they see it as just something we do.
Yes.
It just becomes a routine for them.
Yep. And that is actually another significant side effect of this is as I become more active, I kind of draw my family into it as well. They could take the form of, going on more walks with my wife and daughter. My wife got a bicycle and now we're riding bikes together. Of course, I'm not doing the 100 miles or anything,
right.
But she's getting a lot better at it. Her distances are increasing, and so she's actually coming along for this, a ride on this journey as well, which is, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And how about from an organization standpoint? We're pretty fortunate to have that health and wellness initiative. What would you recommend for an organization that is maybe thinking about how they can provide a benefit to their employees to help them in their journeys? What would you suggest as a starting point for them?
Well, I think providing motivation is key, right? Just having it being discussed, having, like, for example, we have a Teams channel related to this stuff. And early on, I would post in there when I went for a run, and I would show my distance and how fast I ran, and it was motivating because I knew other people were going to see this, right? So a little bit of accountability too, and that was a huge motivator to kind of push me forward, and that was, through what LOD kind of created with this health and wellness program. I would say the other thing is the reimbursement is really helpful too, because I see an app like Strava, I think it's called. It's like, oh well, it's not that expensive. It's like $40 a year, $60 a year or something. But previously, I would think, I'm not I'm not going to get that, you know. But with the reimbursement, you know, I'm like, okay, well, hey, I could use this to buy this app and track all my runs and my fitness. And after I purchased it, I realized how beneficial it was.
Yeah.
So sometimes having a new app or a new gadget or a new pair of running shorts, it's pretty motivating because you see them sitting there like, man, I want to use these.
Yeah.
You know? So there's also, you know, that was a huge thing that helped as well. The other one is with work from home, it can go two ways. You can spend too much time working and not enough time living. You know, it's hard to kind of separate the two, you know. And the other way is, you know, where you kind of create like a life work balance, right? Where maybe on your lunch break, it's, you know, you just, you know, get ready, go for a run, you know, take your hour lunch break outdoors and go for a bike ride or something, you know, so that kind of flexibility, you know.
Yeah.
If you worked in an office, you know, you could still work it out, but you'd have to make sure that, you know, the people around you were okay with, you know, the fact that you're going to come back maybe a little bit sweaty.
Yeah.
So a little bit of accommodation there is a great thing, you know. Yeah. The step challenge is another good one. That kind of draws people in teams. And when you say, okay, you know, go out there and build a team and we're going to do the step challenge together, it gets me contacting other developers or other people that maybe wouldn't do this sort of thing, you know. And that kind of draws other people into the health and fitness ecosystem as well. There's also another thing too of, you know, a company might look at this and say, well, is it worth it? You know, it's a lot of work, it costs money. But, you know, personally, I feel like my work output has increased quite a bit. My ability to sit in a chair for longer is kind of, you know, if I have sore legs, I'm not up walking around as much, you know. Yeah. So a good workout the previous day always helps me the next day, you know. Yeah. It's easier to stay focused. And I think the work output is actually, and the work quality has increased with this as well. So I think for a company, it should be worth it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being an inspiration and for sharing your story along the way and being willing to share your story with our customers so that they can feel that motivation and be able to celebrate your results as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.